everyone, this is Towelliee with TGN bringing you a Protection Paladin tanking tutorial on talents. Now we're going to be going over two very simple specs, one for raiding and one for heroic dungeons. People have asked me to do one for leveling, but I really forgot what I spec'd into when I was leveling. I just remember, you know, Hammer of the Righteous, Hammer of the Righteous, Hammer of the Righteous. And I spoke to my boy Lord Grace and Shadowbreaker here. He charged me about 33 gold to respec. I gave him 50, told him keep the change, bruh. And once again, when it comes to any aspect of tanking, you are your own player. You adapt to your own environment, to your raid, to the bosses, to the encounter. So people might have different specs. I am just sharing with you what I believe are the proper specs for raiding and for heroic dungeons. If you have any other suggestions, by all means, go ahead and post them down in the comments. Now let's go over the protection tree here. This is what I'm going to give you for my raiding spec. Seals of the Pure. Increases the damage done by your Seal of Righteous, Seal of Truth, and Seal of Justice by 6%. I'm going to go ahead and post 2 points into that. We used to spec into Eternal Glory, where your Word of Glory has a 15% chance not to consume Holy Power. But since the 4.1 changes and the 22nd Word of Glory, no one really cares anymore for this. Actually, in terms of DPS, it is the very last talent in terms of giving you DPS during a raid. Divinity increases all healing done by you and all healing effects on you by 2%. I think so, yes. That's probably a very important talent when it comes to raiding. Toughness increases your armor value from items by 3%. That's a given. We have Improved Hammer of Justice. Really don't need that. It could be useful on some bosses, maybe Ragnaros, when it comes to killing the fire ads, but usually they're not up longer than 30 seconds or 40 seconds, whatever the cooldown is. So I'm going to go ahead and spec into Judgments of the Just. Your Judgment reduces the melee and range attack speed of the target by 10% for 20 seconds. In addition, increases the duration of your Seal of Justice effects by 0.5 seconds. 1 second after you spec into it. Now, Sanctuary. I love Sanctuary. Reduces the chance you'll be critically hit by melee attacks by 2% and reduces all damage taken by 3%. In addition, when you block or dodge a melee attack, you gain 1% of maximum mana. Now it's 3% of maximum mana and all damage taken by 10% reduced. Awesome. Hammer of the Righteous. Hammer of the Righteous current target hits the current target for 30% of the weapon damage, causing a wave of light that hits all players within 8 yards for 2140 holy damage, grants a charge of holy power. So that's one of your holy power generators. You always want to spec into that because you need that to spec into Grand Crusader, which we will speak about soon. So we're going to give our Hammer of the Righteous a point there. Wrath of the Lightbringer increases the damage of your Crusader Strike and Judgment abilities by 100% after you spec into it, and increases the critical strike chance of your Holy Wrath and Hammer of Wrath spells by 30%. Love it. Shield of the Righteous, the bread and butter of your threat, folks. Slam the target with your shield, causing holy damage. Consumes all charges of holy power to determine damage dealt, and these are the 1 holy, 2 holy, and 3 holy power charge damage. So I'm going to spec into that. Grand Crusader, when your Crusader Strike or Hammer of the Righteous deal damage to your primary target, they have a 10% chance of refreshing the cooldown on your next Avenger Shield and causing it to generate a charge of Holy Power if used within the 6 seconds. Very strong talent right now. Ever since they made those changes, Grand Crusader is a big chunk of your damage. Now, Reckoning. In order to get to the next tree, you want to put a point into Reckoning. You have a 10% chance after blocking an attack for your next 4 weapon swings within 8 seconds to generate an additional attack. Now, the reason why I don't spec fully into Reckoning is because I have a very low hit rating. Whatever extra swings I may be generating are probably going to be misses. So with 1.68% hit rating, I don't think it's very, I guess, viable to be specking 2 points into Reckoning. But it's either that or Hallowed Ground, and we don't really use Consecrate that much during raids for damage. But other tanks like to use Hallowed Ground for tanking in dungeons. I mean, it's really up to you. It's your preference. I just put 1 point into Reckoning. Holy Shield increases the amount your shield blocks by an additional 20% for 10 seconds. So basically, it's like a warrior shield block. But you know, obviously, you want to use it whenever it's actually helpful for you to use. I know on Beth Talak, when I'm tanking up top, I use it off a cooldown because she's always smacking me for like 80,000 damage. Vindication, no-brainer. Your Crusader Strike and Hammer of the Righteous reduce physical damage done by the primary target by 10%. You definitely want that. Guarded by the Light. I actually do still spec into Guarded by the Light. Now, when you put 1 point in Guarded by the Light, it only does this. It increases your Word of Glory by 5% when used to heal yourself. Now, when you actually put both points, it does an extra ability. Increases your Word of Glory by 10% when used to heal yourself. In addition, any overhealing will create a protective shield equal to the amount of overhealing that lasts for 6 seconds. So we're going to do that. So basically, folks, what that means is, if the healers have you topped off, and you have 3 holy power points, I'll show you right now, very simply. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pop my Divine Plea and my wings. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my word of... Oh, actually, I can't use it because I haven't spec'd into... I'll show you in a second. I haven't spec'd into Shield of the Templar, so I didn't generate holy power there. Derp, 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 derp. Divine Guardian. This is a raid must if you're in progression raiding or normal casual raiding. All party or raid members within 30 yards, excluding the Paladin, so you don't actually get the ability on yourself, take 20% reduced damage for 6 seconds. That basically means that you're giving your entire raid a shield wall, a 20% shield wall, and this is awesome for fights where you have to rotate cooldowns at the end. Sacred Duty. Your Judgment and Avenger Shield have a 25% chance of making your next Shield of the Righteous a critical strike. This is like a boost in threat like no other, so we're going to go with Sacred Duty. Shield of the Templar, which is what I was trying to do right now, reduces the cooldown of your Avenging Wrath, my wings, by 20 seconds, and Guardian of the Ancient Kings, my shield wall, by 40 seconds. In addition, your Divine Plea will generate 1 holy power, so when you spec into it 3 times there, it'll actually generate 3 holy power when you pop Divine Plea. Ardent Defender reduces damage taken by 20% for 10 seconds. While Ardent Defender is active, the next attack that would otherwise kill you will instead cause you to be healed for 15% of your maximum health. So basically, folks, that's like a cheat death, okay? So let's say the boss, you know you're going to die to the boss. It's crunch time. It's 5%. Some healers are down, little DPS up. You're at 1%. You have like 12% HP. Pop Ardent Defender. If the boss melee swings you for like 40k, instead of killing you, it'll actually re-heal you for 15% of your HP, which is amazing. It's like one of the most OP cooldowns that Paladin tanks have above other tanks, and we control it. The fun part is that we can control it. Before, you couldn't control it at all. You would just say, oh my god, Ardent Defender might proc. No, you can actually call out now, Ardent Defender, let's do this. All right, so I haven't hit learn yet, so I'll show you the Guarded by the Light. Now, controversial here. Eye for an eye or improved judgment for raiding. Now, some people say I like improved judgment because I can pull bosses from far away. At the same time, I don't judge at the beginning of a fight. So I actually do like eye for an eye. If you look at my World of Logs, any fight that we do in Firelands has some sort of AoE fire ability or AoE ability in general. And you usually do a lot of damage with eye for an eye. I can tell you on fights like the Farian and Cho'Gall, eye for an eye hits the bosses for a shit ton. And, I mean, even though improved judgment may be a better raid utility, I never have problems, grabbing mobs from far away. Crusade. Oh, yeah. This is a biggie right here. Increases the damage of your Crusader Strike, Hammer of the Righteous, and Templar's Verdict by 30%, and the damage and healing of your Holy Shock by 30%. In addition, for 15 seconds after you kill an enemy that yields experience or honor, your next Holy Light heals for an additional 300%. That's pretty good right there. Let's see. But that's only for Holy Light, though, so we don't do that ourselves. Anyway. Rule of Law. We have 5 points left. Rule of Law. Increases the critical effect chance of your Crusader Strike, Hammer of the Righteous, and Word of Glory by 5%. 15%. And I can't tell you, like, just last night on Beth Talak Hard Mode 25, man, while I'm up there, I have, like, 20% HP. All of a sudden, I pop my wings. I have Inquisition up. 3-point Word of Glory heal, 70k, 84k Word of Glory heals I was hitting on myself as a tank in raids. Very, very powerful. And I like to use Pursuit of Justice. I mean, it's either Pursuit of Justice or Improved Judgment. Pursuit of Justice makes it so that I can actually go ahead and move around in fights where you have to move around a lot, like Alice Razor, the Lord Rylith, basically all the bosses, especially the ones like Shanix, where I have to run away from the ad to reset my stacks. So we're going to go ahead and put 2 points there. Also, the best part of Pursuit of Justice is not only do you gain more mobility, but when you're actually struck by a stun, fear, or immobilize effect, you actually gain a charge of holy power, which is good for PvP as well. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to learn these. Sure you want to learn these? Yes. And there you go. So now with Guarded by the Light, basically when you're topped off and you use your Word of Glory, the overhealing of your Word of Glory is now damage absorption. So I'll show you right here. Let's see if we can pop. There we go. Let's pop our wings. Let's go ahead and get rid of Divine Plea. Now let's heal. There you go. 15,108. So basically that 15,108 is absorbed damage in terms of the talent Guarded by the Light. And it's pretty awesome because sometimes you can tell a healer, hey, top me off really quick. Whatever you can do right now, top me off. And if you know you have a big Word of Glory heal incoming, do it. And next thing you know, the boss is hitting you, and you're absorbing 50,000 damage while you still have the shield active. So that's very good for raiding. Let's go ahead and that was a rating spec there, by the way. Once again, give me your opinion, whatever you think would be a better rating spec if you're doing progression or hard modes or anything like that. Let's talk to this fucking money grubber right here. This piece of shit. I wish I'll do my channel. Yes, I do. 66? Motherfucker, I just paid you 33. Okay. Back to looking at the camera. Now, let's take a look at a spec for heroic dungeon tanking. Now, for heroic dungeon tanking, we're still going to go with Seals of the Pure for the damage. You want to do as much damage as possible and still survive, so you still want to have Divinity. You want to have your Toughness still, and you want to have your Judgment of the Just. Now, we definitely want Sanctuary, and now we definitely want Hallowed Ground. Increases the damage of your Consecration by 40% and decreases the mana cost by 80%. So that's insane, because usually it would take half of my mana bar, and now it'll only take like 5-10% of it. Hammer of the Righteous still, Wrath of the Lightbringer, Grand Crusader, Holy Shield of the Righteous, Vindication, Holy Shield, Guarded by the Light, not so much. It's really your choice. You can either go 2 Reckoning, let's go Guarded by the Light, let's fill out this entire tree except for a few things here. But now you only have 7 points left. So Eye for an Eye, not really good for dungeons. You don't get much damage. Since you're not taking that much damage as it is, depending on what your gear is like, you would go for Improved Judgment. It's good for pulling from pack to pack, one to the other, in conjunction with your Avenger Shield. Crusade, Pursuit of Justice without a doubt for heroics, for dungeons. And now we're left with some talents that, I don't know. So we're going to get out of Guarded by the Light. We don't want that. Let's put our points into Rule of the Law. Let's take our points out of Reckoning and put one more into Rule of the Law, and that's basically it. Now, you can go other ways. You can take out Reckoning altogether if you have a low hit rating. Actually, I can't because, yeah, the structure of the tree. But you can actually go Rule of Law if you want. I wouldn't, though, because you'd actually want your Crusader Strike, Hammer of the Righteous, or Word of Glory to actually crit. So, I mean, you can take points out of Rule of Law and go right into Judgments of the Pure if you want, which increases your casting and melee haste by 9%. I've seen a lot of tanks do that in dungeons, but I really don't know why. So basically, the only major change we do to tank and heroic dungeons is to switch out your Guarded by the Light with Hallowed Ground for Consecration damage, for more AoE damage. And that would basically be it. Now, obviously, your glyphs come into effect. When AoE tanking, you want to use the glyph of Hammer of the Righteous, without a doubt. Holy Wrath glyph is nice for a lot of the Dragonkin elementals and most of the heroic dungeons out in Cataclysm. But that's basically it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Once again, it's very basic, but I still get questions about my talent trees, my specs, what I do, why do I do it. So if you guys have any suggestions, questions, post them in the comments. Thumbs up the video. I'll be linking this video to the rest of my tutorials so you guys can see my tutorials on reforging, gemming, enchanting. What else did I do? I did something else. I don't know. Gemming, enchanting, reforging. What did I do? Whatever, I don't care. Anyway, so thank you everyone for watching. This has been Towelliee with TGN. Visit me on my personal website, holyshield.com, justin.tv/Towelliee. Recently partnered is my live stream. youtube.com/consolecrusader is my personal YouTube account. Facebook.com/Towelliee. Twitter.com/TowelTheTank. Once again, Towelliee with TGN. Peace out, folks. Have a good one.